Welcome to Imperfect Mommying. Our children are constantly looking to us for examples. The term role model doesn't quite cut it here. We are shaping their worldview with every move we make. You see, it's not in the lectures we give or moments where we are actively attempting to teach them. It's in the micro movements we make, the unconscious ways in which we navigate life. We are constantly teaching our children how to show up for themselves, their friends, their future partners, and even their future children. So what can we do to ensure we are raising thoughtful, compassionate, self-aware human beings? We have to become them ourselves. No one is perfect, but we can still all be better, and it starts with self-healing. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Imperfect Mommying, and we have a very special guest today, Tamika Harden. Welcome.
Hello.
And tell us just a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, I'm Tamika Harden. I am a certified personal trainer and body contouring specialist. I help people get healthy. I help people change their lifestyles, especially career-minded working moms and women out there. I help them structure their lives as best as I can to help them fit in exercising and practicing a healthier lifestyle.
I'm a little bit jealous. I've never gotten super into it.
I know it's hard. I am a therapist. I am a coach. I am a trainer. I'm all these things for my clients because I do understand how hard it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a lot of empathy, and it takes a lot of love, and it takes a little bit of tough love. And I have to be all of these things at once. And all I can say is, thank God I love what I do.
Right.
And I consider it a gift that I share with people, I share with the world, because it is my strength. But I am well aware that it's not easy.
Yeah.
Yes, in a nutshell.
Right. Is it something that you've always enjoyed, or did you have to talk yourself into it the way that I do?
I actually discovered it as a teenager. I grew up overweight throughout my adolescence and my childhood. And when I turned 16, I joined a health club, an all women's health club at the time. I lost 40 pounds. I fell in love with the camaraderie and the weight loss contests and the step classes. And we would have marathons where we would battle each other, who could last the longest. I mean, all the fun that was associated with my first weight loss experience, it changed my life. I've just fell in love with that experience, and the light bulb just went off. It became something that I enjoyed. And then very early on, which I think had a lot to do with the influence of my career path and how I really got heavily involved in it, is when I turned 19, the same health club where I started my journey, they hired me to run the place. So because I experienced a life change as a teenager at the age of 16, and at the age of 19 begin to work in the industry and help other people, I think it was the exposure was right on time. And because it was so early on, I just began to build on it over the years, and I truly fell in love with it. And I'm just happy that I discovered it. I really am, because it really changed my life.
Yeah. I think that what you were talking about, the camaraderie, like the friendship, the competition, the community that you created is a huge part of falling in love. Not, the results are great.
Yes.
But having that community is really something I think is super important.
Yes, the support is so important. And I emulated that support in how I structured my business. And I really truly feel that is one of the reasons that I've been successful over the years, is because, not only the service I provided was a good service and it worked, but it's the camaraderie. It's the sisterhood that I create and the support system that I've created for my clients. I really truly think that that has a lot to do with my success and their success at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. So you work with moms, and moms are usually pretty busy. What's something that you do to kind of help them find the time in their schedule, or do they come to you saying, this is super important to me, I'll find the time?
They initially all say, this is super important to me, I'll find the time, and they're excited. The sign up process is very different than the 3-month mark for some people. Is either you make it or it breaks you type of experience. So most of the clients, most people, they want to get healthy. They want to be healthy.
Yeah.
But it's when they are faced with the obstacles of day-to-day responsibilities, and when the freak accidents happen that you could not plan for if you tried to, those are the things that throw people off. Yeah. And it makes it really, really hard for them to stay focused.
Yeah.
So what I do is kind of a step-by-step process. They come in, they're excited, they want to sign up, they sign up. And my goal in the beginning is to just get them excited about showing up, explain to them the importance of the commitment and keeping my appointments unless it is a dying emergency. And I'm sore and I'm tired does not count as an emergency. So making them understand the importance of the appointment, and not only because you're paying me for a service, but because you deserve this time. And I'm here to help you understand that no matter what's going on, no matter how hard it is for you to make this time, we're going to do this together. You deserve this time, and understand that this self-care, this time for you, is going to make you so much better in all the areas of your life. Yeah. And I like to use the example, your children at all ages, they really understand your emotions, your behaviors. Yeah. Your 4, 5-year-old, 6-year-old can say, Mommy, are you sad? You don't look happy. They know from a very young age when we are stressed, when we're happy, when we're not happy. So I try to use that example to explain, you need this for you, and it's only going to make you a better mom to your children, and a better wife to your husband, and a better, head of the household, and the person who keeps everybody together. Is only going to make you better. Yeah. So I try to explain that as often as is needed, so that way they can eliminate the guilt. The feeling guilty that I'm taking out this time for me, instead of reversing how you think about it. I need this time for me so I can have more patience with my children. I need this time for me so I can feel good about me, things like that. Yeah. And just trying to help them understand that you need this, you deserve this, and this is a good thing for you. Don't make it a chore or something that it has to be this responsibility that's not fun, So I really just try to work on the way they see this appointment.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, yeah.
One of my favorite movie quotes is from Legally Blonde, when she says, exercise causes endorphins. Endorphins make you happy, and happy people don't kill their husbands. They just don't.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And it's true, I think I always say this, when you become a mom, it's a role that you take on. It is not your full identity. Yeah. You still have an identity to, who you are, who you were before you became a mom, and who you're going to be after. And you can still be a good parent and still have something for you, whether it is a career choice or a hobby or just the level of self-care that you practice. And I think when you help people find balance and understand that we all struggle with this. Many of us have not mastered it. We still accidentally forget a dentist appointment and we're like, holy crap, who can take, we still forget stuff. We still forget to put all the snacks in the lunch box.
Right.
We make mistakes. We're not perfect, but it's okay. And you do the best that you can. And as long as you are, I think it's important when you show your children that this is what I do to take care of me. This is what you do to take care of you. And, also one of the biggest things that I use in my household with my children is we work as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think often parents sometimes baby their children out of whatever reasons that they have and not realize that they can handle a little bit more responsibilities, age appropriate, of course, responsibilities than we are placing on them.
Right.
And I think when you are struggling to find time for yourself and things like this is when you teach that teamwork. Mm-hmm. And that is a life skill that will set them up for success for long term. So what better time to practice it than in the household?
Right.
Yeah. And I think if you look at it like that, it can help. And I find that it helps me with my children, even if it's, okay, you take out, part of the dinner. My son is 17. He cooks, he helps me. They do their laundry, they fold clothes. My 11-year-old might take him an hour and a half, but he's gotten faster, but just that teamwork, because this is how mommy's going to find time to work out. I can be doing a videotape or a YouTube while, you guys are starting dinner, and I'll do the hard part, but whatever it is, because it really helps, and it helps you in the end.
Yeah. The teamwork thing is really important to teach your kids too. Just, we are a family unit. We're a team. This is something that I actually learned from my boyfriend, because my mom was very much like, I'm doing everything myself. Now she tried to get me to help. I had a little more resistance, and she never stood up to my resistance to doing anything. Yeah. So it's easier to do it. I'm using air quotes for people that are listening, but it's easier to do it myself. You know, and I've caught myself doing the same thing with my son, but because my boyfriend's a lot more helpful than I expected him to be, he really encourages my son to help me. And so my son I'll make him something to eat, but my son's responsibility is to take the dishes back. And right now he puts away everything of his clothes that I'll fold it all, and then he goes and puts it away, and except for the hangers, because that's a little more dexterity than ready for it. But he knows it's coming, because he said to me the other day, he goes, man, I don't want that to be my job, or I'm not looking forward to it being my job next year. He gave himself the timeline. I was like, I wasn't even thinking about making you do it until you said that.
Which is good. Absolutely. Right. And I like that, when you said sometimes parents will say, well, I can get it done fast if I do it myself. But you don't want to have that mindset, because you're really not teaching them. And it's funny because my son, he's gotten so much faster, like I said, but it could take him hours to clean up something that, that I give him to do. But you know what? I just go in and I check and I say, you got to do it like this. And you forgot this, take your time, because he has to learn.
Exactly.
And it really comes in handy.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest things for parents is juggling after school activities and, sports and things like that for their children. Now that can get to be pretty tough. So I try to see if there's any creative ways that they can, put it all together. So for example, I'll say, okay, if it's a track practice or if it's a soccer practice And there's, it's happening outside, obviously. Maybe you can walk laps around the practice. So it's not that you are totally absent from the practice and you're not there, but you can use it as a time to get in some form of exercise if possible. And I don't think your child would be upset with that. It's not like you're doing cartwheels across the field in the middle of practice where they would be embarrassed. Just trying to find ways to, just to multitask and fit these things in however you can.
Yeah. And that's really good time management and effectively being present and also taking care of yourself at the same time. That's a really good tip.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think it just teaches our children life skills that they need to have. Right. Time management is very important. I mean, I'm in New York, we're, in different areas, but it's everywhere now. We are like multitasking all the time. You have 2 jobs, you have a podcast that you run in the evening. This is the American way. We are hustling and bustling. And I think it's important that we teach our children that as early on as possible, because at some point in their life, they're going to get hit with it. They're going to have to manage getting their book report done, get into karate twice a week, and actually have an energy when they get there. Although we're taking them, they still have to perform while they're there. They still have to hand in their assignments on time, and they still have to find time to have a social life outside of all this. So that's 3 jobs, and they're different than our jobs, but it's a lot. So I think the earlier we teach them that, the better, and it helps the entire family unit.
And they're watching what we do more than they're listening to what we say. And so if we're telling them, you got to practice self-care, you got to practice self-care, you got to take care of yourself, but they see you like super stressed, pulling your hair out, like running around like a chicken with their head cut off, you're not, they're going to do what you're doing more than they're going to listen to what you're saying. It's just, that's human nature. They don't have the example of a well-oiled machine. And so they're not going to be a well-oiled machine in their own life. So think about what you want for your children and then do that for yourself. And it'll be much easier than, trying to lecture them and get them to do what you say.
Yep, absolutely. And one of the things I always say especially, I grew up overweight. And I didn't like it because I didn't like the comments, and I didn't like when someone asked me, are you still eating? You're going back for more. Those were the things that I hated. As a child, you can't really speak up for yourself. And I always say to parents, if they come to me for advice and they have a child that's overweight, I always say, I'm sorry to say, but you have to change your lifestyle as well. And it's because they are watching, and children, they don't usually prepare food for themselves. They usually don't food shop for themselves. So they only know what they're exposed to. And if you want them to make the change, you have to also make the change. And most parents do not take on that task in that way. It's more lecturing to the child. Don't eat this, don't eat that, only eat what I pack you for lunch, and don't go for seconds from somewhere else. And that's it. It's not, okay, you know what? We're all going to make the changes in the household together. You know what? I'm going to go for walks with you. It's usually not that approach. And we have to change the way we tackle, childhood obesity. And it's important when you lead by example, like you said, show more and less, talking at them. Absolutely. And that, I wish that I had that. But I think the fact that I didn't have that growing up, it made me more resilient, and it made me determined to do something about it the moment that I was able to. And that's how I got into fitness as a teenager.
Yeah, we're having sort of the opposite struggle, but not totally opposite. My son wants to gain 8 pounds before the summer's over because he's currently 52 pounds and he's tall enough for this ride at the water park, but he's not heavy enough. And it's one of this kid has no fear. This thing drops straight down. I'm like, you could not pay me to go in this thing, but that's cool. Have at it. But he has to gain 8 more pounds. And so the first opportunity he had the next day, he ate his cereal and he ate every single thing in the bowl, drank the milk, all of it. And he goes, Mom, I feel like I'm going to puke. And
Oh,
I'm like, okay, what we need to do is we need to focus on healthy,
yes.
not overeating, because this is going to start some really bad habits for you. We need to start working on like your body needs more than just pizza, which is what
Yes.
he wants to eat now, mostly cereal and pizza. It's like you need to have a variety. He does eat fruits and vegetables too. And he likes them, but we've got to get some different foods in you so you get different vitamins so that you can grow your bones and you can, put on some muscle, and let's do it in a healthy way. So he's got a 8-pound weight and he's like, I'm going to do it like this so that I don't get one arm stronger than the other arm. It's so cute.
I love it. I love it. But at least, he's trying and he's trying to figure it out. And it's good because you're there to coach him. So it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned when we spoke that you were active a little more and you were like working on that. So that's a good thing also.
Yeah. And we have done what you said, which is like, let's get the family together to do it. And one of my friends, told me, stop thinking of it as losing weight. Think of it as like, get your sexy back or something else. And that was really inspiring to me. And so that actually has helped, propel. So I've lost a few pounds, I think, since we've talked. And, it's funny because we spent probably 6 hours at the water park on Saturday and it's taken 2 days to recover. Like my legs still hurt, my feet still hurt from just all that walking. Yes. And it didn't used to be that way, where I used to be able to go to sleep and the next day I would wake up and everything was fine. And I'm like, I'm getting old, but yeah.
Yes. But it's just a reminder to keep at it, because you do have the ability to slow the clock down a little bit. Yeah. So I always tell people, through your self-care and, your lifestyle choices, you can slow the aging clock down just a bit. Yeah. So as long as you just keep working at it, and I like that concept of getting your sexy back and, just doing it to make you feel good and things, because it's like, I have clients who their boyfriend or husband will say, oh, I love you just how you are. Mm-hmm. And I always say to them, I said, but you're doing this for you. I said, it's nice that they love you just how you are, but you want to be happy with the way you look and the way your clothes fit. And you also want to be healthy. So you have to do it for whatever reason that is important to you. And I think for me, when clients come to me, I have to really try to help uncover what that reason is, mm-hmm. and try to keep that reason as important as possible. Yeah. Because that reason could be there, but then it's like, you know what? He already loves me like this and I don't look that bad. So, so I have to find the reason and keep that reason important, because it gets tough. It really does. And I just try to be their cheerleader, to wheel them back in. And I have to give so many pep talks and I have to make them feel it's okay. You messed up. You messed up for 3 days, 7 days, but it does not take away all the effort you just put in for the last 4 months. Right. So just dust it off, hit reset button and give it another shot. The emotional piece is so important, how it makes one feel when they mess up. It's like devastation. It's like they forget about all the good that they've done from this time that they started, and they just get stuck on the mistakes that they've made. And I have to just wheel them back in. And then one of my clients, she said to me, she says, I started using positive reinforcement at home with my daughter. She said, because you use it all the time with me. Yeah. And she's, always say good job, and you're doing great. And she's like, I could look crazy doing this exercise, and you still find a way to say good job.
Yeah.
And it's funny she said that, but that's what I do the entire hour. But I do it, honestly, I'm not lying, but I know how delicate of a situation it can be, just starting and feeling confident about what you're doing. Everybody feels silly their first day in the gym, and they overthink every movement, and I'm just like, it's not as hard as you think. You're doing it right. I said, if you were doing it wrong, I would stop you. So just really helping to hold their hand, and just make it an easy transition. And I'm glad that I am empathetic and I still can understand what it's like to start day one, because a lot of trainers, we forget. I have made that mistake many times in my career. And there's always someone or one client or something that just wheels me back in. And I think when I became a mom, that helped wheel me back in, because that's when I really realized that, okay, this is tough.
Yeah.
Because you have to make time for you and your children. And the hardest part for me, which a lot of my clients also experience it, is trying to eat healthy all the time when your kids want pizza. And being able to make things for them and not eat a piece. Because it's not your time for a treat. It's not happy treat time for you. It's, so that takes a lot of discipline. So I tell clients, I said, listen, try to get the house on board as much as you can. If they really want ice cream or something, try to make it that you have to go out and take them to buy it, instead of having, gallons of it in the house where everybody can just free for all while you're watching a movie. Because then you can only cheat once. You went out and you got a large from Cold Stones or whatever, and it's over.
Yeah.
So I try to tell them, try to get the whole house on board in any way that you can. If your son loves Oreos and you only like oatmeal cookies, then don't buy oatmeal cookies, buy what he likes, and just finding little ways to make it work, because it's also hard when you need to eat quinoa and brown rice and this and that, and your kids don't want to eat that every day. So it's tough. I get it. It's tough. And the good thing is I still understand that.
Right. So you've given a couple of really good nuggets for shifting just little things. Is there one more piece of advice that you want to give to moms?
It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not have it all figured out. It's okay to be still holding on to your mom little belly and your child is 7. It's never too late to start. Just try to start, even if it's with the littlest things, such as walking. When the weather is nice now, taking your children out for a walk, or when they're at the park, trying to do a little YouTube workout clip video or something, or even if it's just walking, every little bit counts. So it's never too late to start, and every little bit counts. So start there.
Yeah, love it. Is there a book, personal development or parenting or exercise specifically, that's been really impactful for you?
That's a good question.
And I think I'm throwing this at you without
that's a really good question. Well, for me, my undergrad is in psychology, minor is social work. So I am pretty well versed when it comes to, having your own identity and how important self-care is and why we need it. So because of that and my life coaching experience and things like that, it's more, it honestly came more from my education and my job. So, that's really where I've been able to pull it all from, and just in guiding me. And my children are adopted. We are a blended family. So before I adopted my children, I was a foster parent. And I went through a number of parenting classes. At one time, I was actually teaching parenting holding parenting classes for other parents. It was one of my many part-time jobs I had along my fitness career. But a lot of it came from there too. Okay. And most books that you read and things like that, in terms of just, having something for you and parenting, they always will stress taking care of you. And it's because in order to be good to others, we have to take care of ourselves. So it's important for moms to, when you make time to do your hair or your nails or to meet your trainer, smile about it, feel good about it, because what you're doing in turn is doing all that you need to do to be better to everyone that you love. Definitely. And I think when you repeat that a few times and you really believe that and understand what that means, you won't feel guilty about making time for you, because at the end, it's going to make you better to the people that you love. And I truly believe that.
Yeah, it's so true. Where can our listeners find you?
You can find me at bodybytamika.com. If you are interested in workouts, my online program is coming next month. I'm working on all the videos and recording and everything right now. Awesome. So you can check me out on my website. Also on social media, I am on Instagram, Body by Tamika, Facebook, Body by Tamika, and YouTube, Body by Tamika. So Body by Tamika, everything. And there's more to come. So if I can help inspire you and get you started, or you need any help or inspiration, feel free to reach out and follow me.
Perfect. And we are pre-recording this, so by the time it's released, most likely your program will be up and ready to go.
Good. Perfect. Yeah.
Yes. So, well, thank you so much for being here and pouring into our guests. And I love all the little nuggets, and I really appreciate everything.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me, and keep doing great things in our world, because, people need support. People need community. Yes. People need support, and all these things are helping someone else. And I think that is the most important thing, is help people, pay it forward, and just keep that cycle going.
I totally agree. Absolutely. Yeah. So we will be back with another episode next week. And until then, keep healing. Thank you for tuning in to Imperfect Mommying. It's time for us to step up and realize that our power is not in trying to shape our children. Our power lies in shaping ourselves into the people we want our children to model themselves after. Don't just do it for your kids. Do it for yourself. When you become a more self-aware, compassionate, and confident person, you and everyone around you benefit. For more information about me and my work, visit AliciaLyons.com. That's ALYSIALYONS.com. See you next time.